BRB UK. Worse teeth, better accents.
Hello, and indeed. Ahoy, hoy. Welcome, one and all, to BRB UK, episode 527. I'm Dan, I'm one of your hosts. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Yes, I'm fine, thank you. Why don't you say hello to the person sat next to on the train? You know, just be social. That'd be fun. Hey, look, I'll give it a go. Hey, who's that person next to me? Is it Coleman?
Hi! Get away from me, you freak. You don't talk to each other on the train. It's illegal.
Then a man who talks to nobody except us two. And that's why he's got to get all of his weekly words out the way in one fell swoop. It's Tim Hibbs.
Hello. That's very not true. I talk
Hello?
to lots of other people.
It is very, very true. Yes, but then why do you speak so much at us? Why are you a conversational juggernaut? Why? Why, Tim? Why?
Because I've got to just, muscle my way in. Otherwise, I won't get a word in edgeways.
I'm not necessarily sure I agree with that. It's because of your terrible internet lag. That's why.
What is that?
Seriously, we correct it all wonderfully. Well, when I say we, I mean Coleman corrects it all wonderfully in post. But what you probably don't know, dear listeners, is that Tim's internet has just been wonky for about the past 18 months. And there's like a 3-second lag between him saying something and then us hearing it.
I have tried various things to solve this. I'm going to have to wait for BT to actually update my fibre so that I can get, full fibre and see if that actually solves the problem.
Try it.
Yes, that's what's missing from my
bran
internet.
flakes.
Bran flakes. Need more bran flakes in my internet.
Bran flakes. More bran flakes.
I thought you said you had something that you needed to try out, but you hadn't done it yet. Has that been and gone now?
No, that's in. That's working. That's supposed to not allow for disruptions and supposed to help with lag, but it doesn't seem to do anything. So yeah.
Eventually, it's the Bermuda Triangle of internet.
Similar to Tim's front room, which is the Bermuda Triangle of consoles. They just go there and never come back.
Just tech in general.
I've got technically 2 games I could speak about this week, but I'm only going to speak about one of them for time, before there was a big developer direct, which we're going to get onto in a little bit. But I played a demo. Played a demo.
Oh.
I played a demo.
Demos.
I did. I played a demo. It was a demo of a game that's coming out soon. It was a demo of... Now, I'm not usually into my city builders. I'll preface this with that. But I do have a bit of a soft spot for anything Steamworld. And
that's a good thing to have a soft spot for. Yep.
Exactly. They're fun mechanical japes. And so Steamworld Build is coming out later this year, but they did release a demo on Steam, which I've had a little look at. And my goodness, that game is fun. I mean, I have to say, as I've prefaced it with, I'm not usually massive on city builder games. There's something about there always being a chuffing, needy so-and-so somewhere in the city that I've got to deal with that just stresses me out, It's like, go down the shop yourself. Walk more than 5 yards to a shop, and you will find the solution to all of your misery. You lazy, 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 lazy gimbalid.
To be fair, if you haven't built a shop, they can't do that, Dan. That's kind of how it works in city builders.
Oh, they ought to build their own chuffing shop. They've got I built their house. I gave them a house. For free.
This is a game, right? Because this sounds like my day-to-day.
No. I gave them a house for free, and they're just there going, oh, woe is me in my free house with all my free food and all my free stuff.
But how does this differ?
Give me more things.
Steamworld builds seem to have like a day-night cycle, and there seem to be things attacking you at night. That's what I got from the
now there's a bit of a day. There is kind of there is a bit of a day-night cycle, but there's also a little bit of a. In the demo is obviously a bit of a vertical slice, but you've got kind of like not only the city planning, city building, where you've got to find resources, make sure that they're kind of you've set the infrastructure up so that everyone can access the resources that you're farming, but kind of it being Steamworld and them loving a bit of a dig for stuff. There is mysterious alien technology somewhere down a mine.
Ooh.
And you've got to use that technology and find it. So there's kind of like a mining mini game as well, where you've got to kind of make sure you've kind of structured the mine correctly, that it's not going to cave in on itself. Make sure the various bots down there are happy as well. So there's kind of, rather than it just being constantly one thing you're managing, there's lots of it does change the focus, as it were, quite a bit, which makes it a bit more of an engaging experience. And look, there's a lot I was impressed how much there was in the demo. Yeah, I've been having fun for it. I wish-listed that sucker, is what I did.
Ooh.
Wish-listed it. A non-contractual obligation to consider buying. That's right.
Are you being attacked by something at any point? There seem to be, from
I
the trailer,
haven't
it looked
yet,
like it was
but
Godzilla.
I've only spent about an
some
hour
form
with
of
the demo.
combat, basically. I don't know if that's true, but
There is definitely some kind of combat in there. There are like kind of defender units that you have to do, and there's like stuff you can discover in the world, like uncover it or dig it up, or well, yeah, it does look really cool. There's kind of lots of different bits to this game. So yeah, I'm quite up for giving this a bit of a look.
I'm going to have to give this a go, I think, because every time one of these Steamworld games come out, I always like the idea of it. I like the look of it, and then I never really get into them. But I've met the developers a couple of times, and they're super nice people, and I want to like their games.
Yeah,
so maybe
I mean,
this is the
I
one.
think there's
yeah. They
There's
always make high quality games.
There's a sale on.
They always have a similar art
Just
style,
not for
but they
me.
seem to go for a different genre of game every time. So yeah, them doing
Yeah.
something different is not a surprise.
Apart from
them
Steamworld
doing a
Dig and
city
Steamworld
builder
Dig 2, which
was a
are
bit surprising. Yes, that was the one
Yeah.
exception where they actually made a sequel to Steamworld Dig. But yeah,
One day
otherwise
they'll
they-
make
they
a
tend to
fighter
sort of
or a
go-
rhythm game.
Yeah, and then you'll be happy, Coleman.
yeah. I mean, there's lots of. I think there is a bit of
Because
a
Steamworld
sale
Heist
on,
I really
think,
liked. I thought that was a great game.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
nice
kind of like a
turn-based strategy
2D.
type, yeah.
That's the 2D turn-based strategy game, isn't it?
Yeah, that was really good. And I can't remember
Then
what the
there was
card game was called.
Steamworld-
Steamworld
Steamworld Quest.
Quest. Yeah, that might be right. That sounds
Steamworld.
right. That was good as well, though. That was a card.
But that was fun.
Kind of game as well. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, no,
Steamworld
there's
Geek
lots
of
of
Cards.
lots of fun stuff in there. But there is like a big old sale on where like Steamworld Heist is 85% off.
Ooh,
There's lots
definitely
of
worth
extra
picking up.
goodies. Virtually everything's 75% off. Steamworld Quest 75% off, and they're all very happy to live on your massive dick, Coleman.
Yep, good games.
Question not related to Steamworld at all, but
Right.
just as
Right.
you've reminded me talking about Steam sales, I just
Yes.
picked up Metal Gear Rising Revengeance on Steam because it was
Right.
like £2.70
God.
or something like that. And then I went, oh wait, that's like the one that I never finished. And then as I did it, it went, one person in your friend list also owns this game and picked it up last year, and it's Dan. Dan, have you played that
Hi.
game, or did you just buy it incredibly cheap and went in the pile?
Yeah, I mean, there is slightly. I think there is a website out there that'll tell you how big your Steam pile of shame is.
Epeen.
Which I might tell
Have
you
a
what. I'll
look
look
out.
that up as we go.
Oh, have fun.
I will do. No, I'll find your pile of shame, Coleman.
Uh-oh.
My pile
Uh-oh.
of shame is a hemorrhoid at approximately the 2 o'clock position.
My Steam list is
My pile of
hilarious
shame.
because a lot of my games are games that I've been gifted over the years from Humble bundles and what have you.
Yes.
But I didn't play on my PC. I just had them sitting on my pile of shame. So there's things like Duke Nukem Forever that I don't think I've ever played, but it's there. And then at
Is-
some
oh my
point,
God.
then I started buying games again.
Oh my God, that's depressing. So I've got 200 games that I've owned but never played. Shame.
Oh, shame.
Only
shame,
57% of my own games have ever been played. Shame.
shame.
Um,
Can you ring a bell?
if
for this,
I
Coleman?
bought all of these games, if I
Every time we say shame.
bought all of these games, bearing in mind I got a lot of them through Humble Bundles and the like, it would cost me $3,594.
Ooh.
Shame. Shame.
Ring a bell.
Shame. I'm gonna have to. I'm
It's the
gonna
wrong
find
kind of
you
bell
now,
ringing,
Colin.
but okay. Yeah, there's also rumours of a sequel to Revengeance coming out because the voice actor said
Revengeance?
that they had something to announce.
Yeah, it's
soon.
called Revenge and Eminence.
Revengeance.
Do, do,
It's
do,
what
do,
we
do.
referred to it on the show, basically.
Revenge and Eminence.
Do, 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 do.
Revenge and Eminence.
Do, 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 do. And that's that joke dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Anything
That
else?
was a terrible joke.
Anything else you've been playing, Dan?
Not that I'm going to talk about this week.
That's fair enough. Well,
Okay,
while we're
gonna
talking
save it for
about
another.
Steam, because I was playing a game on Steam Deck a little while ago, did a
Mhm,
review
mhm.
for it, and then Tim's been playing that same game because it's come to the Switch, if I've got that
Ooh,
right.
hello.
Yes, I think it's
Tell me,
just
what
come
game
out
is
on the
this?
Switch. I think it came out yesterday. It is available now, though, basically. And that game is
Out
the
now.
Excavation
That'll be why it came out
of
yesterday.
Hobbs.
That's how time works, Tim.
of
It was an
Hobbs
event
Barrow.
that happened in the past that still
Yes.
remains in the past.
Yes,
Stop
that's
talking,
how
Dan.
time works. Yes.
Oh.
But yeah, it's a game that you talked about on the show before. I believe I looked up earlier today, episode 512, I believe, that we talked about it on. And I went and back and listened to just what you said, just so I wasn't overly repeating stuff there. This is the Switch version, so there is a few new bells and whistles, but it's mainly just the fact there's touch controls on it, basically. Don't add too much to the game. It's handy every now and again, basically. Like, it's not a massive difference, but it's a useful addition with not being entirely necessary, basically. But the game, for anyone who doesn't know, I'll go over it briefly. As I said, Coleman did talk about it in depth on episode 512. But it is a pixel art style, but very much in the kind of late pixel art era, kind of maybe the height of pixel art, you might say. And very much a love letter to the old kind of LucasArts type games that Coleman knows and loves, hence the fact he gravitated to it beforehand. Oh, I should have mentioned up front, I got a review code for this as well, just to kind of put that out there. But yeah, it's really like nice graphical style, really well done. The voice acting is actually top notch as well. That's one thing worth really kind of mentioning, because I think that's really well done for this style of game and really helps add to the kind of the quality feel of the game, basically. Also, as you mentioned previously, it doesn't have one of the big problems for games of the LucasArts type era of really obscure puzzles with really illogical sort of ways of putting things together to kind of get the result. Everything kind of logically makes sense. If you can't figure out a puzzle, you can usually go, but I wonder if I go and speak to this person, or I wonder if I combine. You can logically work things out in your head. You just don't have to be like going and trying to combine every item in your inventory and kind of like clicking on everything. And it does like highlight everything that you can click on in one environment and stuff like that as well. And yeah, the general story is that, and it's one of those ones where I don't want to give away too much of the plot, and you already covered that quite well without sort of giving too much away. But you're basically going to a town called Bewley in England. It's all set in England. And I'm not sure when it is, but it's kind of 1930s-esque, I would say.
I can look that up.
I'm not sure when it's actually set.
Days
double
of
check that
yore.
while I'm going through. You are there you're invited there to go and excavate a thing called Hobbs Barrow. If anyone doesn't know what a barrow is, it's basically a burial mound type thing.
Hence the name.
Of which there are, quite a few of them.
Are you digging it up?
Quite a few of them in across England and stuff like that. There's quite a few kind of sort of Iron Age and Saxon era type stuff across the UK. And it's very much centering around you going to excavate this mysterious Hobbs Barrow, which everyone in the town is kind of very elusive about, doesn't like to talk about, and you have a hard time tracking it down at first, basically. As I said, don't want to give too much away to the plot, because there is a bit more to the what the Hobbs is referring to, and a few other things that get explained throughout the game. But I think they're things
Hobnobs.
that are better. Yeah,
That's
they're not
my
hobnobs. Not Dan's
This is
cat.
massive turd pile that he's cultivated over his 13 years on this planet.
Yum, yum,
And he's
yum.
very proud of it. Don't go digging in there.
No, don't. But yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Treasures.
Like, it's a point and click adventure, which is normally
Sticky
more
treasures.
of Coleman's domain. But as he'd previously done before, I thought I'd review the Switch version. And yeah, like, I really enjoy it. It's really good. It's definitely something I want to see through to its conclusion. The one thing that I think you alluded to slightly, but you kind of glossed over a little bit, but it's very much got a kind of macabre, kind of dark element to it as well. Like, it's not a story for children, basically. It's very much a kind of, there's a sinister undercurrent to it, basically, and then a kind
Who'd
of
have thought
occult,
digging up a mass grave would have a sinister undercurrent?
but then there's a kind of more of an occult kind of a thing going on as well, and a mysterious thing behind that as well.
Yeah, kind of a Gothica novel influence.
Yeah, and that sort of thing. And
It's not scary, it's eerie.
Yes, yeah, it's kind of
It's the
unnerving.
worst kind, the unsettling kind.
Yeah,
Yes.
that type of thing. And yeah, I think the kind of
Heebie-jeebies.
English village setting quite suits that kind of style of story. And there's been a few good kind of films and things that are riffed off that. Not many games that kind of play into that era that I can necessarily think of. But yeah, I think, it's a creates good atmosphere, really good like graphical style. I don't know if it would have to appeal to someone of our ages, like, or our age range, that kind of did have some reverence for the previous kind of graphical style, as I said, the LucasArts kind of era of games. But I think that definitely helps. But I don't think you necessarily need that going in. As long as you have some appreciation for the art style, I think it helps. So
I don't know. I think where we got to a point of kind of retro in video games being cool they went, hey, pixel platformers, and it was all pixel platformers, and a lot of them did look quite rubbish. It's like, well, pixel art did progress to a point,
pixel art got good.
Yeah, we got past that point, and now it's like the 90s retro is more cool, whereas it used to be all about the 80s.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we skipped the ZX Spectrum retro thing, because the graphics on the ZX Spectrum were just absolute bags of insert secretion of your choice here. Look, Coleman, I'm doing well. I'm trying not to get us into trouble with the robot overlords of YouTube.
It's good. I appreciate your effort. It's good.
One other thing I'll mention.
No, I'm not going to.
Okay. One other thing I'll mention just before we move on as well is that I think it's the publisher rather than the developer of the games, but Wadjet Eye Games. I've talked about a few of their stuff before, Unavowed and a few other games that I've really enjoyed. And they are currently on sale on a Humble Bundle, which we mentioned previously in the show as well.
Ooh.
But yeah, so the games that I've played in that Humble Bundle are so good, I might go and buy the rest of the Humble Bundle just to see the other games that they've got there as well. And yeah, I thought I'd particularly mention to you, Coleman, because it looks like a lot of point-and-click adventures. I don't know if you played, is it Unavowed? I think it's Unavowed, the previous one I played. And yeah, and some other interesting looking titles. So you might want to pick that up yourself, Coleman, but some of our listeners might be interested. And if you like your point-and-click adventures, they make good modern day examples of that have the trappings of some of the old games, as Excavation of Hobbs Barrow does, without some of the drawbacks of some of those older titles as well. And yeah, I think this fits very nicely alongside those things. But yeah, I thought I'd mention that as well, just in case people were interested in picking up a load of their games as well.
The year the game is set, it does not give me one in the description. It just says Victorian English Village.
I'm going to guess 1872.
Ooh, I'm going to guess 1993.
That's a bit too late, probably, actually. It's probably earlier than that.
1872?
No, I'd guess late 1800s or early 1900s, actually, going by some of the stuff that I just
So 1872 is too late, yet the late 1800s is fine.
Well, yes.
You don't get how time works, Tim.
No, because there are years later than 1873 that would still be counted as the late 1800s. I thought you said it was too early. And I said late 1800s,
These sheep
early 1900s.
are small. Those sheep are far away.
Jesus.
I reckon it's the 90s, but it's just a very rural village.
Or do you reckon it's actually 2013? They've just landed in East London and everyone's
that could be the thing.
If you watch like early episodes of Emmerdale, it's pretty similar.
Yeah.
Is it though? Are you just going on the fact there's a number of screenshots with a thatched building in it? Oh, it's Emmerdale, that is.
So I've come to excavate Hobbs Barrow, a woman with a job.
Hello?
Yeah, it's just like Ellie.
Well, they kind of like, there's a bit of she's sort of talked down to a little bit because she's an unmarried woman, basically, at some points as well. So there's a bit of
there's a lot of that.
What a harlot!
Yes.
What a harlot!
Yeah, very. So will your husband be joining us? No, I'm single.
Well,
what? Yeah.
Did I actually kind of ham that up about how ridiculous that mindset was? Where it's kind of a woman out here without her husband?
Not really. A lot of people think that way. And you kind of rebel against it a bit, but there's not really any major sort of pushback sort of thing. But you're very much.
But there is, I hope, at least some finger pointing about how silly a point of view that was back then.
You'd like the game as well, Dan, because I just forced an old man to milk a goat against his will. So,
Against the goat's will or his will?
The goat was a bit grumpy. That was part of the problem. So I had to get the old man to do it. The old farmer dude.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you sure it was a female goat?
I mean, it produced milk, so I hope so. Or someone's
Did
tea
the
is going to
female
be really
goat
bad.
have a
They were
husband?
unhappy
YouTube
it was
algorithm.
goat's milk, so they'll be even unhappier if it's male goat's milk.
A female goat with a job.
Coming over here, letting some harlot touch your teats.
And will Mr. Goat be joining
How
you?
very dare you?
Actually, I'm a single goat.
Burn the witch.
That's pretty much the extent of it.
Yep.
A single woman without a husband coming over here molesting my goat's teats.
We've mentioned goats many times, Dan, and you haven't taken the opportunity to milk it. There you go. See, I was expecting
There he
that.
goes.
Anyway,
That was the audio interpretation.
Use your goat. Yep. Of
that went
milking a
very
male
radio
goat.
forward. That was the audio interpretation of a distressed male goat.
No, I was going to say that was the audio interpretation of Twitter after the reviews for Forspoken came out from many people who hadn't played the game, but assume they know about it.
I played the demo. It made me sad.
I played the demo, and it made me think this might not be a good demo to showcase the game. And after playing the game, I pretty much have that conclusion.
Oh,
Right. So tell me about it. Now, so Forspoken is something I was in a previous life excited about. Then I've still kept it on my ones to watch list, but loosen my definitions of watch being one that
Watch from
I'm
afar.
watching it because it could be a complete dumpster fire. It's not reviewed well. I think that's fair
it's
to
had
say.
mixed reviews.
It's currently it's batting. 28% of critics recommend it according to OpenCritic.com, with a top critic average of 69 out of 100.
Yeah, it was very mixed. I'm just trying to pull the review roundup that I had the other day.
I mean, so while you're doing that, I mean, one of the things that set alarm bells ringing for me was, I mean, the review embargo for Forspoken was like right to the wire. I think it was like release it as soon as the shop shut the day before.
Yeah.
So
There was rumours about
yes.
that, but then there was lots of reviews in time. Like, a lot of people have reviewed it by the time the game came out.
I think it was a case of there were choice reviews that it went out for, and then it went out to enthusiast reviews, and it's something that's more and more common these days with both film and video games. But yeah, I retweeted out, I think it was Stealth 40K that put out like a roundup of all the review scores, and you can see it is very mixed there, either like really high or really low, the majority by the looks of it. And it kind of set off a precedent of people online going, well, this game is terrible and not worth playing because I played the demo and therefore bad game. What I took away from that demo is, there is something here and I'm not getting it with this demo because I'm kind of overwhelmed with the amount of choice in this combat that I can't get my head around. I need to I want to start this again from fresh at the actual game and see how it builds up. And that is kind of the right way to take. I do think that demo has muddied a lot of the water before the game came out, unfortunately. But we'll get on to the main game itself. So if you don't know, Forspoken is the latest offering from Square Enix. It is built in the Final Fantasy engine, where you kind of play a third-person shooter, kind of Assassin's Creed parkour, but not as in-depth, more super fast-paced type game that is a single-player narrative, where you play a character called Faye. She's an orphan that is on hard times in New York, where she has fallen in with the wrong crowd, constantly in and out of trouble with the law. And due to some mishaps, she comes across a sort of bangle, a cuff as she calls it. Upon putting it on, warps her into a different dimension that has a kind of bearing to fantasy, medieval, sort of dragons and knights kind of era, high fantasy magic kind of surroundings. Upon turning up there, finds out the cuff talks to her and also causes her to have magical abilities, which you unlock as the game progresses.
I had a pair of pants like that once.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of my early 20s very, very drunk.
So as you progress through the story, you'll find yourself unlocking new magical abilities, which kind of play like a third-person shooter, which is something I quite enjoy. Sort of mixture between elemental and just magic purple sparkles,
Yeah.
purple energy attacks, as we were calling it last time. And a lot of people got off on the wrong foot with this game because of the weird kind of clunky nature of just having all these powers. The writing, as Dad keeps bringing up, he doesn't like the writing. A lot of people...
It's terrible.
And a lot of people seem to take... If you just go through the game and go, right, this scene, I'm going to take this scene and upload it online and go, look at the worst writing ever done in video games or the worst acting. I was like, yeah, if you did that, it's quite cringy. But if you play it in context with the rest of the game, it kind of levels out. If you took Iron Man, one of the greatest Marvel movies, and went, here's a bunch of quips from Robert Downey Jr. in that film, isolated, you go, and having never seen the film, you go, that looks like a rubbish film.
But, I mean, I would say, though, that Robert Downey Jr. absolutely nails the delivery of those lines, whereas I have to say I felt, again, you're hearing it in isolation, and probably a lot of the dialogue in the demo is out of context, but I just found... it was just, especially about the Bangle, who's trying to be some kind of, again, along the Iron Man comparison.
Kind of a Jarvis.
Trying to be a bit like Jarvis, exactly. I just found just a bit... it made my skin crawl.
People put up like
Perhaps I'm just old.
videos, as Coleman said, and I watched like the clips that they put up, and I'm like, have you ever been to a video game before? Like they're not well written generally. Like in isolation, as you say, like not just the Marvel thing, but like any video game. There's like about 4 video games that have been well written throughout the whole thing, and 2 of them are Portal games. Like there's not many like massively good dialogue. I would say that. Yeah, people are being overcritical of it for the sake of being critical, basically.
But yeah, I haven't played enough of this game, nearly enough. I've only had so. Interestingly, I started playing this, and you play like a nice little chunk at the start in New York, before you get warped off to the new world, and the New York setting is really
hey,
cool.
I'm
and
parkouring here.
Yeah, and kind of dealing with like the gang members before you go away. I will admit they're a little bit ropey, but they're only in it for like 5 minutes and then they're gone.
Right.
But that stuff I really enjoyed. And then the point I actually got to the Bangle before warping off to the main kind of crux of the game, it came up with a message on my PlayStation saying something along the lines of copying app data, 1 hour left to completion. And I went, okay, I was playing that. I guess I'm going to play something else. So I put that aside, left my PlayStation running, and then forgot about it, checked it the next day, and went, okay. And it was back in the room where I was going to grab the Bangle, went to grab it again, and it went, check it, copying app data, 40 minutes. So you've had 24 hours. What do you mean 40? Okay, fine. So I left it running, finished off New Tales of the Borderland, came back to it, eventually started playing again. That was the only kind of hiccup I've had with that game. I don't know what that was about, but it happened. I don't know if it's because I'm playing a physical copy instead of a digital copy. I don't know. Maybe it's just not playing ball. But after that point, all fine. I'm still quite early on in the game. I'll probably talk about this more next week. But so far, like early impressions, I really enjoy it. I got to fight a big dragon. I've laughed at jokes. There's a good point where there's kind of like a witch trial going on because you're this new character from a strange land who's wearing weird clothes and talks weird, and they go, where do you hail from? And she goes, Hell's Kitchen, and they're like, demon. So that made me laugh.
All right, I'll give him that one.
Yeah, I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. I'm going to give more deeper impressions next week, I think.
More deeper
impressions next week.
Excellent.
Which I've got a bit of a choice next week because Dead Space just arrived on my doorstep and I want to play that.
What platform have you
PlayStation 5.
Has it got haptic triggery goodness on PS5?
Oh, I don't know because I haven't even put the disc is in the box. I haven't touched it yet. Oh, that's a good point as well. The old haptic touch stuff on PS5 for Forspoken is very nice. I do like that stuff. Yeah, especially when you kind of got this magical parkour ability where I think it's in the demo as well, and you're kind of gliding, skipping along the floor, and as you do it, like there's a very kind of light tapping kind of like Astro's the Astrobot game, Astro's whatever it was called, Playroom. Yeah, a lot of the feeling of that game in this game,
which is a VR one, but yeah, Playroom's the one that was on the PS5.
Yeah.
But anyway, really enjoyable so far. I'm looking forward to playing more of that. now I have to squeeze a high fantasy game mixed with a horror game. And do you know what? It's really good to have a good single player narrative game. I do like having a good single player narrative game that isn't a live service or something being forced on me I don't really want to do. A simulation. There's always simulators now.
So I watched the first hour or so of gameplay. Alana Pierce was playing it, so I ended up watching her play through that. She wasn't as down on the game as everyone else as well, although, early impressions because it was just the first hour or so of it. But it has made me go, maybe I need to play this at some point to have a solid opinion on it that's informed and actually sort of inform our discussions. I'm not rushing to it, but I will possibly pick it up at some point, I think.
I think we'll, at the end of the show for I've Got a Question, there's something that alludes to temperature online, and I've got some choice ones that I need to reference, so I'll wait till the end of the show for that.
Okay. Coleman's spicy tonight. We've got spicy Coleman.
Spicy Coleman.
Spicy
Just before
Coleman.
we move to the news, can I talk about the investment I made this week? Investment in heavy inverted commas.
What have you done?
Because I made a bad purchasing decision.
Have you bought
I'm very
the
happy
PS5
with.
Controller?
Sort of, but not the one you're thinking of. I invested in a Thrustmaster HOTAS.
Fight stick.
No, I was thinking
HOTAS.
but I actually found the
Tim
HOTAS
got a
was on
HOTAS.
sale. Yes.
What's in my drawer?
What's in your drawer? I don't know.
I haven't played that game for a while. I forgot how fun it was.
Oh, yeah.
Stop it.
What?
Mainly for playing in VR, although as I sort of learned, not quite the hard way, I did think about this beforehand. I'm like, I'm going to have to play outside of VR for a good couple of hours because there's a bit of a learning curve with where the buttons are and what's going on with everything.
Yeah, there's about 4 million buttons on a HOTAS.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, X button's the middle one there. Where the hell is R3? Okay, that's on the back of that thing there. Again, only impressions because I've just tried it in Star Wars Squadrons and in Ace Combat 7. And I've just tried it in the VR stuff, even though with Star Wars Squadrons, I played the non-VR just to get used to it for a bit. But once I kind of got comfortable with the button placement and where everything was, strapping the headset on, playing in VR and playing with that is so good. There's a bit of a learning curve to just getting used to as not just button placements, but just how it controls differently with that compared to the controller. But it's more logical, and it also helps with the immersion just because it's more akin to what your hand movements are doing in the cockpit. And my word, does that add like another level of just immersion and coolness? And I absolutely love playing those games. I'm going to have to go back to Eve Valkyrie, which is the other game that I've got. It's a weird time to buy it because there hasn't been any like flight sim type things announced for PSVR 2 yet. As I was dipping back into my PSVR games and as I played Star Wars Squadrons the other day, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I'm going to buy one of these. And yeah, like I'm really pleased with it so far. I'm going to play around with it a bit more and I'll possibly mention it in future weeks, but I just wanted to mention that now.
Playing Elite Dangerous with a HOTAS is just it completely transforms the game. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's one of the ones I'm actually hoping. I completely forgot about what we were talking about before, but I'm hoping that we get an Elite Dangerous for PSVR 2 because that will make my purchase of this much more sensible, but also be really cool.
I think that's very doubtful because the company, 2-3 years ago, they announced that they lost a lot of money on VR and they halted all development for VR. Now they're just focusing on PC.
And they've had their fingers burnt with Odyssey
console
recently.
Oh yeah,
maybe Sony can give them a sack of money and maybe that'll help. I don't know.
Try telling Bungo that Destiny 2 was broken for a day and a half this week. Yeah, a little bit. I had to play other games, Tim. That's the only reason Steamworld Bill got a look in, mate.
How did you cope, Dan?
Turns out other games are fun, turns out.
Okay, good.
I was talking to a mate about Elite Dangerous and playing it on the Steam Deck, and he was saying, oh, it actually plays really well on the Steam Deck. So I thought, do you know what? I think now is the time I should pick up Elite Dangerous because I've been told for years and years that I should be playing this game, and I finally I went, right, I'm going to finally buy it. And then I looked on Steam and went, oh, I already own this. Apparently I was gifted it years ago. Forgot. So, yeah, I tried that around. I went through the tutorial, got to the main base, customized my ship and character and stuff. Went, right, I am ready for this. But I've had to play around with that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's dangerously good, isn't it? That's elite, dangerously good.
Dangerously good.
And it is actually one of the games that works really well with the Steam controller as well. So if you can find some
I
good
heard.
Steam controller setups.
I've just been using the DualSense on my PC and then switching over to
Get
Steam
yourself
Deck
a
on the go.
HOTAS.
Oh,
It's
it's really, really good with
HOTAS.
this.
I don't want a HOTAS. Where the
HOTAS
hell am
is
I going to
really
put it? Where the HOTAS am I going to put a HOTAS? Should we do the news?
Anyway,
Yes.
news!
Right. We
Forsooth,
have.
I require news. Festoon me with it.
We got some good headlines
Insert
because
it in my ear holes.
this week
until
was
I
the
can take no more.
Xbox and Bethesda Developer Direct, and I like this idea. I think more companies need to do this, where they're taking a page
Yes.
out of the kind of the PlayStation and the Nintendo Direct sort of style of streaming, where you don't necessarily have to do an E3 presentation every time. You could do a smaller stream, a handful of games, just enough to kind of wet your whistle. Just make sure you
Little
got
and
some.
often.
Yeah, just make sure there's a couple of games in there to make you go ooh. And I know there's one for each of us at least.
Yes.
But yes, we'll run through these. We finally got a release date for Redfall. That is coming on the 2nd of May. Red for Dead.
Red for
Redford
Dead.
Denture.
Red for
What?
Deadfall.
Robert Redford Dentures.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Robert Redford Dentures. Redfall. Just to say, Redfall looks really good though. I really like the look of that.
Yeah, it
That
does,
looks-
though, doesn't it?
I'm on board.
So that's kind of open world survival horror-y FPS-y thing, isn't it?
Yeah, done by Arcane. I've always bounced off of Arcane games before, but appreciate they're well made, and I really like the look of this, and I'm really looking forward to getting hands on with it when it comes out on Game Pass as well, which is even better news.
Yeah. It looks like it's kind of. I'm hoping it's more fun than Back for Blood, because that didn't really have. I mean, I know it still exists, but it didn't really seem to have the staying power. People found that very repetitive. Although I was enjoying it, I just couldn't really find people to play that game with or randos to hook up with. So I'm hoping it has more staying power. But it looks like it's taken a bit of. It's got the Left 4 Dead. It's vampires instead of zombies, but it seems to have taken a couple of cues from the Ghost Recon. No, not Ghost Recon. The Rainbow Six Extinction game that I really liked, but again didn't have the staying power to carry on with. So we'll see how that goes.
Well,
should
for
be good.
single player as well, which I think might help its staying power overall. Though, no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. We've got Minecraft Legends. That has got an April release date, April the 18th. We had a
Can
look.
I ask a very obvious and old man question here?
Go for it.
Yes.
Why?
I was going to ask the same.
Why? I don't quite get why Minecraft Legends needs to be a thing. Why?
Because they spent a lot of money buying Mojang.
Yeah. Need to leverage that a bit.
I hear you.
I can see
hear
this
ya.
being quite popular though. No, it's like a base building Minecraft game where you've got big castles, waves of enemies, but it also seems to be PvP. So you've got different people going up against different people.
It's
sending
like
waves of stuff
Fortnite in
out against
Minecraft.
people.
And there is your kind of there's your kind of answer, because
The
what
audience,
Microsoft did is they went, we've bought Mojang, we have bought Minecraft, the biggest game for children in the world. Like, it's got the massive young audience and adults as well. Like, we need to buy this and we can make it last forever. What the hell's that? Fortnite? Uh-oh. So now they keep
Sugar.
Yeah. So now their idea is we need to keep making games in the Minecraft setting, because we have this license that's very appealing to younger and older fans. And this is their going, well, strategy Fortnite style, I guess, base building and PvP. It works, but I think the problem you have is Fortnite is basically a toy box at this point, where they go, here's a bunch of different figures, smash them together in any kind of way you like. Do you want to be Iron Man? You can be Iron Man. You want to be an alien? You can be an alien. You want to be Goku?
You want to be Kratos?
Yeah, you want to be Goku and Kratos and Master Chief? Go for it. If you've got the money, then do it. And that's what you're kind of competing with at the moment. And I don't like their chances. This doesn't appeal to me at all. I don't know about you guys.
I don't think it's made for any of us three, but I do see that this could possibly get an audience. Like, it seems to put more of a game into the Minecraft setting, basically. Like, I can see this possibly doing all right.
But wasn't part of the joy of Minecraft that it didn't it was just
Yeah.
a thing. It was like a massive sandbox to go and play in and explore, whereas kind of trying to shoehorn a structured game on top of it, kind of, to me, I don't know. Again, I'm totally not the demographic.
We're not the
but
demographic, I don't think. But
just kind of takes away from what Minecraft is to me. I don't know.
I mean,
I know what I'm talking about.
It'll launch on Game Pass, so we'll probably give it a go. Much like me and Dan played, what was that, Dungeon Crawler? That wasn't very good.
Minecraft Dungeons.
Most probably that. That sounds like a game we played.
Yep.
Yes.
That inexplicably didn't have cross-play between Xbox and PC for some reason.
Yeah, that was weird, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
Yeah,
let's talk about the more exciting games, because Dan, Forza Motorsport finally shown off, coming out sometime this year.
But with a little bit less precision on the old release date now.
It's just 2023.
2023
Yeah,
sometime.
just 2023. So probably
and definitely
next
second
year,
half of 2023, I would say. Like, because there's a lot of these games that are spread out throughout the first half of the year. So, yeah, makes sense to be later in the year for this one.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a whole big chunk of new Forza goodness.
Looked fantastic.
It does look incredible, and you know the team at Turn 10 absolutely love their cars, and I think the thing that I think there's lots of arguments that go around about, you know, is Forza too arcadey? Is it, you know, not simmy enough to call itself a sim? I think it, by and large, it gets the balance pretty good.
Yeah.
And also, unlike Gran Turismo, does actually surface a lot of the stuff with what's going on in the simulation engine. Like in Gran Turismo 7, tuning your car is an absolute nightmare because it doesn't actually give you any of the telemetry you need to make effective changes to the car. Whereas Forza does do that if you want to get at that. And it sounds like they've completely, as they always say whenever there's a new Forza, they've completely revamped the physics model, and it's now more realistic than ever. And they're now simulating every single nut and bolt that you can imagine in the engine, and then some. I mean, it looks incredible. It looks beautiful. It was all in-engine stuff in the footage.
Yeah.
I'd imagine some of the stuff they're parroting about ray tracing might be pretty pared down to hit that 60 frames a second. Again, it's coming to Game Pass. I'm anticipating it's going to be on PC as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm curious to see how different the Xbox Series S version is and how much they have to compromise to get it running well on there, basically.
I'm going to call it as there is going to be 30 frames a second, I think, is what you're going to get on the S.
I don't know. I reckon... So the S doesn't do 4K. It does checkerboard 4K like a PS4 Pro would. So I reckon you'll have that. I reckon you'll still get 60 and a very limited version of ray tracing. Well, maybe ray tracing 30 or without ray tracing 60. But yeah, I don't know because they've said 2023. And I think when they unveil the actual release date, that's the point I go, that's when I'm buying an Xbox Series X. So
yeah, I'm
looking forward to this.
A few people doing that, basically. Yeah.
Do you like the sound of 500 cars to play with, Dan?
I love the sound of 500 cars to play with, especially when more than 100 of them are new to the franchise, he said, reading the press release. What?
How about 20 locations to race at, including 5 new locations?
Colour me turgid.
And they showed off one in, was it South Africa?
South Africa, yes.
When Africa, where you got to district people play with the massive dick.
That's right. As we know, the biggest selling console in South Africa is the Steam Deck. It's a massive dick. Huge dick it is. The Steam Deck, as we know.
But yeah, I mean, I think because I've been dipping my toe into the water a bit with Gran Turismo 7, and I think there's just so much there's some really great bits about that game, but all of the really fun stuff is just bogglingly buried in menus, and just the whole user experience of it is just so incomprehensible on so many levels.
I'm looking forward to visiting the cafe in VR, Dan. In VR. That cafe. Ooh.
Well, knock yourself out, mate, as you get groomed by some slightly suspicious beardy blokes. If you drive this car, I'll take you around the back of the shed and I'll tell you a special story.
That does happen surprisingly a lot.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? So yeah, but one of the things about Forza that is great compared to the Gran Turismo side of things, in my opinion, and I'm allowed an opinion, just as
No,
you're
you're not.
allowed your opinion, is that it feels a lot easier just to get to the racing rather than faffing about with stuff that's inexplicably in one menu. Like you buy car parts in one bit of the menu, and then you've got to buy your wheels in a completely different bit of menu. Don't
Am I
even
right
get
in
started.
thinking that they don't do the open world thing in the motorsport version like they do in Horizon?
Correct.
That's correct. It is specific.
It's track
and I
racing.
think
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It's all kind of closed track racing, and they have got other stuff as well coming in. I think like properly simulated day-night cycles, really dynamic weather, like the track rubbering in, so the behavior of the track changes over the course of the race as it would in real race cars. So yeah, I am really looking forward to it. I mean, it is on Game Pass. I'd imagine there's going to be a fancy pants version for a little bit extra money, the Ultimate Edition. So
Play
I have to
earlier.
say,
Pay £80 to play a couple of days earlier.
A week earlier.
I mean, I think if you're on Game Pass, you can get that at a preferential rate. So I might think about doing that. But yeah, I'm
Don't
mega
fool us,
excited
Dan.
for
You
Forza
will be
Motorsport.
buying that version. That version was made for you. They might as well call it the Dan edition.
Yes, just me. No one else.
Yeah.
If
Yes.
I remember correctly, isn't this meant to be the first-party Xbox game to be launched at £70 RRP?
I think you're right.
Yes, I think that's where it starts. So it'll probably be £120 to play a couple of days early.
Oof.
Buy a couple of controllers for that.
Yeah.
Anywho, yeah, I'm looking.
Which controllers?
I'm looking forward to two Stadias. I'm looking forward to Forza Motorsport, but I'm especially looking forward to when it's finished and then they go, all right, here you go, playground, go do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right, surprise entry. So from Tango Gameworks, The Evil Within, and more recently Ghostwire Tokyo, a new title called Hi-Fi Rush, which launched the same day as the announcement. It's available right now. Rhythm action game available on Game Pass. I gave this a quick play because I was watching this on my lunch break and went, I've still got half an hour. Quickly, whip out the Steam Deck, do some streaming of this game. By the way, running Steam Deck tethered to my phone's 5G, it's super smooth as doing the streaming. I did
nice.
Yeah. You wouldn't realize. Did not know that it did. It took me a moment to go, I don't have this installed. I am streaming this. This is the most clear I've ever seen a game stream. So I was quite impressed with that. Yeah, really good. I only played like half an hour of it, but it's done like a third-person action hack and slash type game. There's a rhythm element to it. You play a character who has been modified, so their arm has been their arm has been removed and replaced because you can see they've got like a broken arm or a damaged arm in a sling.
Yeah.
Been replaced with a robot arm, but during the process, their MP3 music player has been grafted inside them and has become like their heart. So now they feel the beats as different popular songs are playing, like the Black Keys is the one that's used in the trailer, and that's the start of the game as well. I think initially your character is being augmented for picking up rubbish, so they can pull out a kind of grabber for picking rubbish off the floor. But because of the beat, the grabber turns into a weapon and it will gather all the rubbish around them and turn into like an electric flying V guitar, and you use that to attack people.
You're not going to pick up any rubbish for that.
Everything in the game is done in time with the beat. So initially when you come out of your operation and you're walking down a corridor, you'll realize that the footsteps are going in time with the beat, which is kind of cool. And then all the attacks, all the enemies, the cutscenes, everything is done in time with the beat. Where the game's combat mechanic comes from is you're doing much like the first-person shooters. There's a couple of them that come out where you have to shoot in time with the beat. This one is, even though the character is attacking in time with the beat, if you hit the button prompts in time with the beat while you're attacking, then you score more points, get larger multipliers. It's kind of the satisfying way that when you play, say, Devil May Cry, and you got to get like the S rank. The whole game's like that, but with rhythm-based prompts. Yeah, I really enjoyed it so far. I like the way it does it's 3D models, but flat shaded to make it look like it's 2D. Only example for some reason I can think of is that new Chip and Dale movie that came out last year, the Rescue Rangers one. Yeah. which a lot of people complain about that style. I quite like it.
It really reminded me of kind of Dreamcast era games. It's got that really kind of
Yes.
high fidelity, high color,
Jet
Jet
Set
Set
Radio.
Radio feel.
Jet Set Radio-esque thing. So that really appealed to me. I've played the first 15 minutes or so possibly not quite as much as you. And I've played just enough to go,
By
I really
15
like the look of
minutes.
this game. I like the look and the feel, but I possibly don't have enough rhythm to enjoy this game. That might be my downfall on that
Fair
one.
enough.
I'll give it a bit more of a go and see if I can get into it. But yeah, I really like the styling, and also really like the shadow dropping, not leaking, managing to get a game out and shadow drop it without any leaks at all is almost unheard of in this day and age. So well done for actually achieving that. And nice one for putting out an interesting game and putting it on Game Pass on day one. That's quite cool.
Yeah. I really like it. I'm looking forward to playing more of that, especially now I can do it on my deck. It's I did have the
it's
moment of
definitely one
going,
for you,
oh,
Coleman.
take out the Bluetooth headphones, put in the wired headphones because you need no latency on this at all.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, there we go. So you can say hip hop the hippie to the hip hop, don't stop the rocking to the bang bang boogie. Say up, jump up the boogie to rhythm of the boogie to beat. Yeah, son's what you can do.
Last one from the stream, and I kind of gloss over this one because none of us really play Elder Scrolls Online, but it's more of a question I had because so they were talking about the new chapter, which is Necrom, and also that for a limited time you can download your Elder Scrolls Online on Game Pass, and you'll be able to play all the previous 20 chapters for free for a limited time. Now,
I have a question.
go on then, because I have a question.
Necrom, to me, sounds like something you use to get rid of mold in your shower.
Stupid question, wasted time.
Why have they named it that?
Proper game question. They said that the Necrom is the first revisit to Morrowind since 1994, the Elder Scrolls Morrowind.
Right.
If I remember rightly, and because I remember doing an editing piece on this a while ago, didn't Skyrim have DLC that you went back to Morrowind?
I think so, yes.
Right, good. I'm glad I didn't imagine that.
I think from what they said in the presentation, wasn't it Morrowind content, but I don't know that you necessarily went to Morrowind? I'm not sure, but there was something that they alluded to in that.
It was, I think it was in the Dragonborn.
Yeah, they said
you could fly Dragon Riders thing. I'll look into that more,
Anyway.
but that wasn't sticking right with my head.
Well, there we go. Back to Morrowind.
Yeah.
I mean, I bounced off Elder Scrolls Online. It seemed like it could be quite fun, but
It's
had
too
a certain.
much of an
I
MMO
just,
for me, for my liking, really.
yeah.
Well, it is an
and
MMO.
well, it is
MMO.
proper MMO. Oh, really, Tim?
Oh,
That is a sick burn, son.
Yeah, there you go.
But if you love the Elder Scrolls universe, it's gonna tickle your happy places, I would imagine.
yeah. I love the idea of it, but I just don't have time for an MMO. Like, I've fallen off games of a service, and I really don't have time for an MMO. I want some proper single-player narratives for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm
Something to
spoiled
get
for them this
stuck
year.
into.
Right, moving on, and I can hear Chris Evans screaming out over the battlefield as he goes, "Avengers Disassembled!"
Oh, I had a completely different Chris Evans in my mind.
No, wrong Chris Evans. We don't talk
forget your
about him
toothbrush.
anymore.
Why did Billy leave me?
That's going to confuse American listeners. Anywho,
It certainly is.
Crystal Dynamics, they put out a little blog post named The Final Update on the Future of Marvel's Avengers. So there is going to be there has been a final update for Marvel's Avengers. We've heard rumblings of this leading up to it. I know there was the whole thing, the headline that got mistaken by a lot of angry fanboys online that don't like the She-Hulk
Angry
TV series.
fanboys online, never.
I know, especially when it comes to comic book adaptation content. But there was the announcement that the character of She-Hulk that was going to be a DLC character in Marvel's Avengers would not be included in the game. But it was worded in such a way that it sounded like they were writing She-Hulk out of the MCU, the films, who had a very good TV show that a lot of people are angry with because woman.
I really liked that. It was funny.
Yeah. Anyway, so that was right.
It was funny in parts. I felt it was trying a bit hard in others.
I really liked it.
I did enjoy it, but I did feel it was trying a little hard in some places.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, so
Might be
She-Hulk was
some talk to it.
axed from the DLC lineup, and also on the slide, because they hadn't announced it, was Captain Marvel was also axed from the DLC lineup. Instead, we got Winter Soldier as the final character. We're not getting any more characters, but after that, they haven't announced like an end date for Marvel's Avengers. It's still supported in that it's online, but there are no more content updates or support updates going forward by the sounds of it.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Why was the blog post not entitled Endgame?
Yeah, I know. They missed a trick on that one. Because then it would sound like you're shutting the game down, but they're not shutting the game down.
Oh, that's totally going to happen. You know, although they're officially ending support on the 30th, it's going to be, we'll keep the servers up for as long as someone keeps it plugged in.
That will be the final blog post, will be Marvel's Avengers Endgame, something like that. Yeah. Or it's our Endgame.
1st of October, calling it.
Yeah, it's a shame. I really enjoyed Marvel's Avengers. I know it had a very rocky start to begin with. A lot of people, like, it didn't perform very well technically on the PC. It didn't perform technically well on the previous consoles, but became more stable and then started going the other way as more focus was put on the current gen versions of consoles. Moving on to the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, played very well. Apparently got a big boost when Game Pass started offering Marvel's Avengers. There was the whole further around the Spider-Man DLC being exclusive to PlayStation and then spending forever to come out as well. There's been a lot of problems with Marvel's Avengers, but it is a game that I've played a lot of. I think it's like one of my most played games on the PS4. I enjoyed my time with it. I am gutted it's gone, but I too have fallen off since the Mighty 4 update was the last time I played. I haven't gone in to try out Winter Soldier myself. I might jump back in because I think I'm like 2 trophies away from platinuming that game. So I would like to get the platinum before it eventually dies a death. But yeah, there's been a lot of weird steps with that game. And if you look at what Square Enix have tried to do with this game compared to like what EA tried to do with Anthem, where they went, hey, we're going to completely rebuild the game from scratch and put it out there as a free update. And anyone that bought it, don't you worry. Also, it's available for like £5 in some places and less than that in others. So, you know, you might want to pick it up now, ready for when this big content update. No, we're cancelling it, by the way. Just nothing happened.
I bought that and then never opened the box. So,
whereas Square Enix actually did put the time in. They did the updates. They did try to completely retool it. So when you started it, it made more sense story-wise why things started up for new players and things. They tried to make it more friendly and more approachable, but people were just done with it. I think they were kind of soured on it. The thing that I kind of got bored with was when they introduced the first new characters, when you had your 2 Hawkeyes, your Kate Bishop and your Clint Barton Hawkeyes and your Black Panther. Like, they did these big story updates of new levels and new storylines and new cutscenes and stuff. And then when they did Spider-Man, they did like one little intro and then went, there you go. It's all comic book panels now. And they did the same with Mighty Thor as well. And, it kind of felt like the care and attention that was initially planned wasn't there going forward. And I don't know if that's because they don't have Crystal Dynamics anymore. It's just kind of, it's a shame. It's a shame. This project did not go the way I was hoping, but I still had fun with it. Unfortunately, I am one of the few. And lastly, there was a lot of rumors circulating 343 this week because unfortunately there's been a lot of jobs lost across the tech sector, the video game sector, Microsoft being one of those that got heavy hit and 343 being no exception, which led a lot of people swirling rumors around on the internet saying that they might be not in charge of Halo anymore, might be getting disabandoned and Halo going off somewhere else, which I know a lot of people want. I particularly don't care. But there was a blog post from 343 that said, hey, don't worry, Master Chief and Halo, they're here to stay. We were formed to work on Halo. We will continue to work on Halo. It's ours.
Even if you don't want us to.
Yeah. It's ours.
I kind of do. I'd like Halo to return to form. Like, I thought Halo Infinite was quite good. It had some good points. Not launching it
Never heard
without...
I've heard of Halo Infinite, though.
Launching it without co-op, I think, was a major mistake because that was always a staple of the game for me. And I think, like the end game of that was a bit mixed and a bit strange and didn't suit the open world format and it left a sour taste to the end of it. But I think they should have just launched the multiplayer and then launch the single player like a year
cheeky.
after and giving it a bit more time and launch with co-op. And I think it would have been more of a success. But yeah, I'm glad they're still doing Halo stuff though.
Now I've got my amazing streaming working on my Steam Deck. Do you know what I could be playing? I could be playing Halo Infinite. Infinite.
Okay.
Once again, making fun. Tim can't say infinite. Yeah. We don't know why.
You can't say infinite.
Like the number of words you mispronounced in talking about Marvel Avengers, and I didn't pick up on them. But hey.
All right then. What was it? Ocarina?
Was it?
Ocarina?
Ocarina?
What's wrong with Bonded?
Yoko Ono Arena.
Yoko Ono Arena. Yeah, that's a pretty good one.
Yoko Ono Arena. Okay.
Yes. Anyway, we probably ought to think about wrapping up the show, I do believe.
Yes, please.
So, we are going to try and sell you some sweet, sweet merch. That's right, because you should go to tpublic.com/store/BRB where you can buy said sweet merch. You can buy merch with my face on it. No other faces, just my face. There are other products that don't feature my face, but every time you buy a product that doesn't feature my face, I get a little sad inside.
I'd like a T-shirt with my face, but no reference as to why there is a picture of my face. Just
okay. Give me a photo of your face, and I shall make it so, Coleman.
But I'm going to slam my face into like an old school photocopier to get it.
No, yeah, exactly. Photocopy your face.
Yeah, that'll work.
Top quality merch. tpublic.com/store/BRB.
.com/store/BRB. Links in the show notes.
Timothy, Tuesday.
Tuesday
is a Tuesday. Talk to us about why Tuesday continues to be a Tuesday.
Tuesday continues to be a Tuesday every week, and every week we do an event called Tabletop Tuesday at the Loading Bar in Stoke, Newington. Each and every week we have a different feature game, and if you play that feature game that evening, you have a chance of winning a copy of the game at the end of the evening. As the Tabletop alludes to, it's usually a card or a board game. This week is a game based on The Traitors, the popular BBC series that they did the UK one a bit ago. They're showing the US one at the moment.
Have you started watching the US one?
I haven't watched the English one yet. I did watch the UK one. The UK one, especially the ending and how they wrapped that up, I thought was really, really good. The guy that was one of the traitors at the end was fantastic. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I mean, it just despite me wanting to be grumpy about it, I really got its claws into me. The US version is, how can I put this? Very more American. Dramatic.
Yes, I was expecting that. I'm keen to actually jump in and have a look.
Coming up after the break.
I mean, there are some people on that. Yes. That's all I'm going to say.
But I think
very Americans.
Yeah, could be good. But yeah, there's a game based on that, and we will have that as our feature game next week. So there will be more details on the top left-hand corner of BigRedBarrel.com. I assume it's a hidden traitor game. I haven't actually looked into it yet, but I assume that's the case. But yeah, like
one would think.
Yeah, I would think so. But there'll be more details on top left-hand corner of BigRedBarrel.com, or you can search for Tabletop Tuesday on Meetup.com and join our over 2,000 members on the Meetup group. Come along and play some games and win one possibly win a copy of the game just by playing it on the evening.
Tabletop Tuesday on a Tuesday. Go there. It's in Loading Bar in Stoke Newington. I nearly said the old address then.
Yes.
Links available in the show notes. If you have watched this show, then thank you, you silly goose. But we appreciate you listening, and we appreciate your support, which you can do by leaving us a review on your podcast listening platform of your choice.
Makes me happy.
Yes, including the likes of Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you'd like to leave us a review, that'd be lovely of you. Thank you very much. We do like a 5-star flavor. Also, while you are looking up things with this podcast, you can find us on BigRedBarrel.com. Over there, we have a comment section you can leave us comments on, but we also have a link to our Discord. We have a Facebook and a Twitter at Big Red Barrel, and we have a YouTube, Big Red Barrel TV. Links available to all of those in the in the show notes of this here episode. Just whatever way you are listening to us, scroll down, or maybe watching us on YouTube. Scroll down, have a look in the notes. There are links, there are hyperlinks, there are URLs available to find us in different ways. And while you're there, you might want to get in contact with the show and maybe go over there and say, I have a question. Much like
Yes.
Quarf has done, he says, I have a question. What game do you keep going back to, even if you've completed it multiple times? Final Fantasy VII, Pokemon Blue. Those are my two.
Destiny 2.
Monkey Island 1 and 2 as well.
Into the Breach is the good answer for me. It's kind of replayable anyway. But
that's a good shout.
Yeah. And that
I just installed that on my massive Deke.
It had some free DLC that came out for it as well, so it gave a good reason to go back to it. That just reminded me I need to go back and play more of that again, but yeah.
Yeah. Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I've done Ocarina of Time a few times as well. I've played a lot of games multiple times that I really like. Buster Groove, done that a bunch.
That's why Into the Breach is a bit of a cheat because it is infinitely replayable, but yeah.
I'm
Finite Cly.
Tim, how many times?
Infinite Cly.
Oh, right. Okay. Good. Right. Excellent.
Yes.
Wow.
Into
really
the
led
Broach.
into that infinitely.
Onto the Broach.
That's the West Country Halo.
Yeah.
Ooh-ar, 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 ar. Ooh-ar, ooh-ar. That's the West Country Halo. Ooh-ar, ooh-ar.
That's the mistake they made, Dan. They didn't go into the West Country. That's what they should do for the next version of Halo.
Ooh-ar, 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 ooh-ar.
Stop now. Stop now. Stop now. You're getting silly.
Right,
Get off of my land!
Yep.
Spiky Chris says, I have a question. With just
Yes,
how
Spiky
bad the
Chris.
Forspoken demo was, do you think this makes video game companies even less likely to provide demos? In brackets, as I suspect it affected sales negatively. I don't think this will affect them to release demos. I think that's already happened, whereas now a lot of demos are getting locked behind pre-orders and paywalls. So you will see, for instance, demos on the PlayStation Plus service or Activision. They like to do a lot of, hey, you want to play the free demo? Well, you can have the free demo by paying £60, £70 for the game beforehand, and then we'll give you the free demo. Thanks, Activision.
Yeah. I mean, we already get less demos, as you say, so
demo.
yeah, I don't think it'll massively affect things, but it might make Square Enix a bit less likely to do demos in the future, possibly. But also, it's a hard game to demo,
Yeah.
I think that's part of the problem, but yeah.
I do think, though, what it's going to make game devs less likely to do is to blindly trot out a demo that was designed for a show floor. Because I think that's what happened in this instance. It was kind of like, all right, very broad vertical slice, minimize kind of anything other than smashing buttons and get people an idea of what parkour is. I think the only reason that people might be, or companies might be less likely to do a demo is that they now may feel that they have to curate that content more appropriately to make it a good experience of the game, rather than just going, we put this on the floor in E3, it was fine there, it'll be just release it, you know.
Yeah,
that's what I reckon.
We got one from Sam Ronan, but I'm going to save that for next week, even though that is a good topic to be talking about. One that ties
because
in.
I'm being silly.
No, it's because we're running out of time. Ed has one that also ties into Forspoken, so I want to get that in as well. He says, what games did you see get a massive backlash from people online who haven't played the game, only for you to quite enjoy them? I will put Forspoken in there. I have seen a lot of reactions from people either go, oh, wait, actually, I like this game, or I've seen people that continue to hate on the game who have been hating on it on the way in before the reviews even came out. I've seen one guy, not mentioning names, I've seen one guy who's trying to be like an internet streamer,
that guy,
constantly rip on the game, say how horrible it looks and how bad it's going to be. And then when the reviews come out, go, oh, what a shame. I was actually really looking forward to that game. And now is continuously going, wow, this is the worst game in the world. I can't believe it's like, and you look and you go, but you've never played it. And this one person, like someone else in a similar kind of vein ages ago, I think this was when, I can't remember if it was Guardians of the Galaxy or if it was when the Batman Telltale game was coming up. It was one of the Telltale games. Okay. And I was saying how excited I was to play this new Telltale game on Twitter. And they went, oh, it's absolutely rubbish. Don't bother wasting your time. Save your money. And I went, oh, right. What part of it put you off? Like, what didn't you like about the game? Oh, I haven't played it. Then why are you telling me it's awful and don't bother spending my money?
People do.
And by the way,
really
two really good first impression games.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It baffles me how people have really strong opinions without actually, informing that opinion by playing it, basically. But I can't think of one for me. I can think of one that I think you liked more than a lot of reviewers did. And that's one that we've mentioned earlier in the show. And that's possibly why it's coming to mind.
Ghostwire Tokyo?
But, yeah, exactly. Yeah. You seem to like that a bit more than reviewers
I do
did,
like that.
basically. Yeah.
I think it was
I've
overpriced,
got
but I like it.
Massive Dick to play, actually. Or no, I'm thinking of a different game. No, sorry, I just didn't shit with certain random words there. My apologies.
Here's a good one. Before its announcement and release, a lot of people thought Far Cry was done and dusted before Far Cry 3. And then I went to an event where I think it was an EGX at the time, and a lot of people were absolutely down on Far Cry. No point playing Far Cry 3. And then by the end of the day, everyone's like, you got to go play Far Cry 3. Oh my God, it's amazing. So that's one I remember witnessing in real life.
I can remember getting a lot of grief for slightly being a bit harsh on Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo.
I think it was. And I was like, yeah, it's all right. And the amount of hate I got for that was incredible.
Well, it's your fault they delayed the game because solely based on your feedback.
Yes.
Yeah, as we know.
Someone, I think, actually tried to pin that on me.
Hello.
Without irony. It's like, really don't think they give that much of a whatnot about my opinion. So, or maybe I was right.
Yes.
Yes.
Hey,
anyway.
Sorry, going back, we did have a question on the day before, and I really want to talk about it, but I think I'm going to table that and we're going to talk about it on the Discord because it might be worth having a chat about this while it's fresh in everyone's memory.
Interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's let everyone go to the Discord. We'll go have a chat about the day
case
before.
Of the day before, yeah.
As soon as I finished editing this episode.
Yesterday, if you want to use what the cool kids are calling it.
Right,
Yesterday.
let's get out of here because I got to go watch Avatar 2 once I finish editing. I'm going to be having no sleep.
Oh,
wow.
Oh.
Well, have fun. But we're going to go. Bye-bye. All that's really left to remind you, aside from visiting all of the links in the show notes that Coleman has lovingly handcrafted for you, is we just need to remind you that I have been Dan.
I might have been Tim.
Chaos Breaker. It's been chaos.
Breaking things is quite chaotic, so that fits.
Unless you plan to break them.
That reminds me, though, I did double check. It was the toaster that we were speaking about last week on the show.
We know. He was telling us in Discord.
Yes. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, he's on Discord now. Okay.
Thanks,
that's
Tim.
good.
Right, we are going. Thank you ever so much for downloading us. We shall be back next week. And until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
Your ears are quite welcome.
For the podcasting goodness that you just heard.
Why not roll on over
to BigRedBarrel.com
for more podcasts,
news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet. BigRedBarrel.com.
But we do need a moment of silence and of reverent respect because Stadia is now dead.
Oh, no.
Sorry, Stadia.
Do we cheer?
I don't want to kind of take pleasure in the downfall of it. I think that feels a bit mean.
It's Google. I think